Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to understand what is microservice and what is the microservice architecture. Nowadays, microservice architecture play a big role for every project. Like whenever we are going to develop any newly fresh service basically, then we are thought about the microservices. So before going to the detail of it, we need to understand the monolith architecture. So why we need to understand the monolith architecture? The reason is like uh, in monolith architecture there are certain problems. To overcome those problems actually, uh, we need it introduce the microservices. Okay, so what is this? The microservices, like, to overcome the problems of monolith architecture, the microservice architecture built, right? So microservice architecture built on to overcome the problems of monolith architecture. So now let's try to understand what is monolith architecture. So the principle of monolith architecture is, a monolith architecture is a traditional approach to designing software where an entire application is built as a single unit. In this architecture here, all the different components of the applications such as user interface like shopping UI, business logic, data access layer are tightly coupled and integrated and deployed together. Means in monolith architecture, single CI/CD pipeline is required. This means that any changes or update to the applications require modifying and redeploying the entire monolith architecture. Monolith architecture are often characterized by their simplicity and ease of development, especially for small to medium sized applications. However, they can become complex and difficult to maintain as the size and complexity of the application is grows. So here in this architecture, as you can see, this complete part, right, this UI user interface, then the services, different types of services I am having, like order service, product service, delivery service, and the payment service. So here as you can see, the shopping user interface, order, and all this in single unit. Okay, so now, like uh, as you can see over here, all are coming together. So what basically in a monolith application, client, whenever client coming to access this particular applications, then it will come to the load balancing, and accordingly it will get the applications user interface, and then from there it will try to place the order. So they can get the product details, or also like service delivery services and payment services, and based there is a certain things that also they can save the data in the database or maybe fetch the data from the database. Okay, so the advantages of the monolith architecture, the simplicity. With a monolith architecture, all the code of your applications is in one place, as you can see over here. Okay, this makes it easier to understand how the different parts of the applications work together. It also simplifies the development process, since developers don't need to worry about the different services communicate each other, right? So it will also, another advantage, like it will also increase the development speed, since all the parts of the applications are tightly coupled over here. So it's faster to develop new feature, right? Then the deployment. So once the development is done, then we can easily deploy because it's a unit, single unit, right? If any issues occur, so for the debugging perspective also it is very easy because all the things are in a single place, so you can easily like debug which portion is basically break. So and from where we need to go to the detail of it, so easily we can understand that from where we need to fix this one. So debugging perspective also is very easy. Now the, if we talked about the disadvantages, so the main is complexity. So complexity is like, as a monolith application grows, it becomes more complex and harder to manage. These complexities basically make it difficult for developers to understand how different parts of application interact, leading to longer development times and increase the risks of errors, right? The next one is the scalability. So let's say there is a certain scenarios that only this order service getting more load, rather than the other services. So in this scenario, we are not able to increase the load only particularly for this service because all are tight coupled in a single unit. So we are not able to increase the load only for this order service. So this is another limitation of it. Technology stacks. Let's say here 4 services. Now we want to develop this order service using Python and the rest are using the Spring Boot. That is also not possible using this monolith architecture because all are in a single unit, right? So these are the basically disadvantages of it. And now if we talked about the microservice architectures, to overcome those issues we need to use the microservice architecture. Like the below the this application that I shown over here, this monolith architecture actually break into a microservice architecture in this way. So client, then this user interface, here is the one API gateway. From the API gateway, respective microservices are getting called from this user interface. Even internally, they are also getting connected. So now the thing is that what advantage we'll get over here, we can now suppose we want to increase the load for particularly order service, we can easily do. Those are not impacted because all are the separate microservices and all are singly CI/CD pipeline we can maintain for single services. All are the individually can deploy it, and also all the services are having the different databases, right? So all are individually independent, not a tight couple. Now the thing is that how they are going to connect it to each other. So there is a two things, like either maybe HTTP call. So how this HTTP call basically works, from this we need to call HTTP calls to this service, and after getting the response means it's a synchronous call. We need to wait for the response from the product service. Okay. Now the asynchronous call, for asynchronous call we need to use the some kinds of message broker like Kafka or maybe RabbitMQ, those kind of message broker we can use. We just need to push the data from this order microservice. Product service will pull data from this message broker and process. After getting the process the response, it will again push the data to the message broker, and order service pull the data from the message broker and process the order. So this is the overall process of using this microservices. Okay. Now the thing is that we can easily, each and individual service we can deploy like easily as individual. We can increase the load for individual service. There is a no tightly couple for the services. They are like all are individual, so there is a no impact for each other. Again, the another point, like suppose is this one service is like fall down, so other service will be up. Okay, so it will not break the whole application. But in case of the monolith architecture, suppose we are having some issues in this product service, so it will break the overall the applications, right? So this is also problem of this monolith architecture. But now suppose in the microservice, if this only delivery service is down, so due to this other services will be up and there is a no impact, only this service will impact. So we can check the issues and we can fix this one easily, right? So this is also another like advantage of these microservices. Okay, it's also having some kind of disadvantages like monitoring and the debugging. Then the cost wise, because we need to deploy, means we need the infra costing is there, and then the deployment costing increase the overhead. We need to maintain lots of microservices together, right? So these are the like disadvantages of it. Okay, so now if we talked about the like when we are going to use this monolith or microservices, so for that basically, so when we are going to use this monolith or microservice architecture, like if the application is small and simple, then we can use the monolith one. If limited development is team is resources over there, then we can also go with the monolith. And if the like frequent change is not required into our applications, then also we can go with this monolith architecture. Now when we are going to use the microservices, like if uh, rapid development is needed, then we can use these microservices. If scalability and the fault isolation is needed, then we can use these microservices. So these are the like things that point, or maybe we can say some scenarios that when we are going with this monolith or the microservices. But there is a no rules. So the just one point I need to mention over here. as you can see over here, this monolith architecture we have break in this way, right? Like in this way, but there is a no certain rules. So breaking this monolith to the microservice architecture, so we can just decide something based on the decision or based on the functionalities. We can like break those microservices. It's obviously vary to company, organization to organization, that how we're going to break those monolith to the microservices. There's a no certain rules. We can break like based on the functionalities. We can break based on the functionalities we can break. So this is obviously like vary from organization to organization. So that's all basically what all these things, like what is the microservices and how this microservice architecture we're going to use, how it is different from the monolith to monolith to the microservices. So that's all. If you guys have anything, please do let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe my channel for more insight and for technological tech insight and the tips. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.